Longtime Emerson Players person, I'm used to having cues. My cue today was not clear, so I apologize for my delayed entry here today. Welcome and good morning, everyone. I am Jill Rose, your worship associate this morning. Thank you for being here with us, whether you're joining us in the pews or online. We have several announcements. Some of them you may have heard before. Between the service and lunch bunch, we will share coffee and conversation here in our gathering place just outside the sanctuary. And for those of you who may be new to Emerson or new to UU, are you interested in getting to know Emerson? We are interested in getting to know you. Join us after the service at 12:15 in the library, that's upstairs, room 203, to explore Emerson and Unitarian Universalism, and light refreshments will be served. We would especially like to welcome our visitors this morning. We're very happy that you have found us this morning as a place on your spiritual journey. You might have been handed a welcome packet when you arrived. If you did not, they are still available on the table outside the door. You might pick one up when you leave. That welcome kit contains a yellow card, which is the same as what you will see in many cases in the pew rack in front of you. Filling out the card is optional. When you're interested in staying connected with us, please fill out the back of the card as well as the front of the card. The back helps us find out a little bit more about how we can serve your interests as well. Only after you fill out the card, we will put you on our twice-weekly mailing list to keep you informed of church doings. You can leave the completed card either in the offering baskets or the container in the front, or in the name tag basket that's on the welcome table there in the front of the church when you came in. Whatever you decide, welcome to Emerson, and we are delighted to have you here today. Reverend Ed, in case you couldn't tell, is away this week. We welcome Lynette Ross as our pulpit guest. Lynette is a second career United Church of Christ, otherwise UCC, as opposed to UUC, that's a trick, huh? UCC pastor who received her Master of Divinity degree of theology. She graduated magna cum laude from Southern Methodist University, Perkins School of Theology, and was part of Cathedral Hope of Houston, UCC, now St. Peter United. From its first organizational meeting in 2008 until she retired in 2017. She served that church as a lay member, a licensed minister, and as their first called and settled pastor. Reverend Ross has also served the Houston Association and the South Central Conference of the UCC in various volunteer positions. Since retirement, she has served as a sabbatical pastor at Bering Memorial UCC and as interim pastor at First Congregational Church of Houston. Prior to the ministry, Lynette had spent 35 years in corporate America in a variety of industries, including healthcare management, systems, implementation, and software high-tech corporate training management. She has been a resident of Houston for almost 40 years. And now please enjoy our prelude as we formally begin our service. And now we transition into our sacred time together, a time of reverence, a time of attention, a time of intention. I invite you to join us in this time marked by the lighting of our chalice. I would like to invite Aaron Xia to come forward and light our chalice flame in the sanctuary. And I invite those of you at home to light a candle where you are to join in with us in spirit. We mark this sacred time with words, important words that bring us into a time of collective intention. As we light our chalice flame here in the sanctuary, I guess that's a repeat. I hope you all have lit your chalice at home, if that was your intention. Each week, we hear words of wisdom when we light our chalice. This week, those words come from Rania al-Abdullah. Rania al-Yassin, now known by her regnal name, Rania al-Abdullah, is the current Queen of Jordan as the wife of King Abdullah II. She is an author advocating domestically and globally for cross-cultural dialogue. Please join me in reading these words together as they appear on the screen. We are stronger when we listen and smarter when we share. Emerson is a beloved community of faith, reason, and affection. We welcome all to grow in mind and spirit as we build a better world. We do this by gathering to seek, learn, and grow, and in the course of our work, to promote love among each other, our congregation, and the wider community here in Houston. Whether you're here in the sanctuary or joining us on Zoom or Facebook, we welcome you. No matter where you are on your personal spiritual journey, we welcome you. No matter where, we welcome you to, and we invite you to live, learn, love, and grow with us. As a covenantal community, we aspire to promote love, fellowship, and social justice, as well as support for your personal growth. Please join me in our welcoming words. The words, again, are on the screen. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, wherever you find yourself on your life's journey, whichever your pronouns, whether you've walked in or rolled in or dialed in, whomever you love, you are welcome here. And now we have a presentation of This Week in Unitarian Universalist History with Richard Cummins. I'm so used to Richard stepping up, I just planned it was to happen.
Thank you, Jill. Good morning.
Good morning.
Today I have two items for This Week in UU History from Frank Chilman's wonderful book, which details 600 years of UU history. On the 23rd of June in 1977, at General Assembly in Ithaca, New York, the Unitarian Universalist Association passed the groundbreaking Women and Religion Resolution, which called on Unitarian Universalists to examine in their own lives the way in which traditional religious beliefs have devalued women and promoted this devaluation within the larger culture. The resolution further called on the UUA and religious leaders to put traditional assumptions and language in perspective and to avoid sexist assumptions and language in the future. And on the 27th of June in 1824, Edna Dow Littlehale Cheney was born in Boston. She was a women's rights activist, abolitionist, educator of freed slaves, transcendentalist, and widow of the famous portrait artist, Seth Wells Cheney. She was also a friend of Harriet Tubman, who furthered her interest in educating former slaves. During the Civil War, Cheney raised funds to teach African American soldiers, using the New Testament as her text. After the war, she made several teaching trips to the South. She advocated immediate women's suffrage and secured women the right to vote in school elections in 1879. Cheney became interested in medical education for women and was instrumental in founding the New England Hospital for Women and Children, serving on its board until 1887 before becoming its president. Cheney's religion was greatly influenced by the Transcendentalists and The Transient and Permanent in Christianity by Theodore Parker. She died on November 19th, 1904. Reverend Ross?
Good morning. You know, each Sunday at my church, First Congregational Church of Houston, we lift up words a great deal like your welcoming words, because the Unitarian Universalist Association and the United Church of Christ are really sister denominations. They share deep historical roots in New England Congregationalism and maintain a close, active alliance through progressive acts of social justice. And I'm blessed to be with you this morning and join you in this time of worship. And so now, with our chalice lit and our hearts and music, our minds centered, we invite you to join your voices with ours in celebration by singing a hymn. You may stand if you're comfortable doing so, or you may sit seated. But please help us raise our voices and sing. Our opening hymn is in our gray hymnal, number 21, For the Beauty of the Earth, verses 1, 3, and 4. This morning, I want to read to you a story. It's called, What Do You Do with a Chance? It was written by Kobe Yamada. Now, it's a children's book. I know that. But it's an amazing book. And it speaks to me. And I hope it does to you as well. One day, I got a chance. It just seemed to show up. It acted like it knew me, as if it wanted something. I didn't know why it was here. What do you do with a chance, I wondered. It fluttered around me. It brushed up against me. It circled me as if it wanted me to grab it. I started to reach for it, but I was unsure and pulled back. And so it flew away. I thought about it a lot. I wished I'd taken my chance. I realized I had wanted it, but I still didn't know if I had the courage. When another chance came around, I wasn't so sure, but I decided to try. I went to reach for it, but I missed and fell. I was embarrassed. I felt foolish. It seemed like everyone was looking at me. I I decided I never wanted to feel this way again. So after that, whenever a chance came by, I ignored it. And the more I ignored them, the less they came around. Until one day, I noticed that I hadn't seen a chance in quite a while. It was as if they'd all disappeared. I started to worry. What if I don't get another chance? I know I acted like I didn't care, but the truth was, I did. I still wanted to take a chance, but I was afraid, and I wasn't sure if I would ever be brave enough. Then I thought, maybe I don't have to be brave all the time. Maybe I just need to be brave for a little while at the right time. I realized it was up to me. I promised myself that if I ever got another chance, I wasn't going to hold back. If I got another chance, I was going to be ready. Then one seemingly ordinary day, I saw something shining far off in the distance. Is it possible, I hoped? Could this be my chance? I had to find out. I ran as hard and as fast as I could toward it. I don't know how to explain it, but the second I let go of my fears, I was full of excitement. It wasn't that I was no longer afraid, but now my excitement was bigger than my fear. As I got closer, I could see that this was a really huge chance. By this time, I was ready. As it came by, I reached out and grabbed it. I held it on with all my might. It was so good to soar, to fly, to be free. I now see that when I hold back, I miss out. And I don't want to miss out. There's just so much I want to see and do and discover. So what do you do with a chance? You take it, because it just might be the start of something incredible.
Thank you, Reverend Ross. We often have stories that I think children's books can teach us a lot along the way. Each time we gather, we ask your help in fulfilling this church's mission. The success of this church and the principles we support is made possible by the work of our members and friends and by your financial support. We honor that support by striving to live the mission of this place fully and wholeheartedly. This is one of our chances. Here at Emerson, this collection does not go to funding our work, which is funded through the pledges of our pledges of financial support. The collection each week goes to fund the work of important partners of Emerson, who, in our opinion, live out our Unitarian Universalist values in our community and in the world beyond our community. The act of giving our financial support is both a transformative spiritual act and one way we live our values. 75% of today's offering goes to June's Share the Plate recipient, the Women's Home. The mission of the Women's Home is to build communities that strengthen women and support families as they reclaim their stability. Guided by their signature whole life model, they provide care that is comprehensive, evidence-based, and compassionate. Their approach meets women and their families where they are, empowering them to reclaim their lives and become strong, contributing members of their communities. The remaining 25% of today's offering goes to Interfaith Ministries Meals on Wheels, which provides thousands of meals every day to Houston's homebound seniors. You can go to our webpage for online giving, put cash or a check in our offering basket or boxes, or mail a check to the church.
Would you join me in a brief moment of silence and meditation? Breathe deeply. Let everything go. Be here now. Like the child in What Do You Do with a Chance, willingness to pray begins with noticing, spotting a small, shining possibility and leaning toward it. Prayer is our way of saying yes to that chance. We acknowledge the fear, the awkwardness, the not knowing, and still we reach out. In that reaching, we grow a little braver. Words, silence, or a single breath become bridges to hang on to. Though the most ordinary things, books, apologize, I'm lost here. Prayer's power is not a magic that erases doubt, but a courage that keeps showing up. Each time we answer the call to prayer, to turn, to listen, to offer, the chance expands. What felt risky becomes practice. What felt isolating becomes shared. Over time, prayer teaches us to trust the unexpected, to steward the chances we are given, and to be gentle with ourselves when we fumble. Hold the chance tenderly. Speak or sit with openness, and let prayers do the quiet work of changing you so you can meet whatever comes. was enjoying that so much, I almost forgot I had to get up and talk. Can I tell you, there's a little duck here. Have you seen this? Can you see this? It's a little duck. I can't, it's amazing. Well, you know, depending on your denomination, my guess is that you were probably taught a specific way to pray. Perhaps even what to say in those prayers. And then there's the whole concept of public prayer. Sometimes you'll see that the prayers are prescribed, they're like a litany. Often they're free form, but in most instances, it's only the clergy that offer prayers. And I wonder, do we think God listens to clergy more? Or that they pray better? I don't know. We act sometimes like God is up there with a clipboard and grading our prayers. Whoop, whoop, good opening, a good opening, check. Oh, no, you asked for something before you offered thanks. That's not good. Poor grammar and syntax. You can't have that. So can we just agree on one thing and not get bogged down on how we pray or the words that we use? Let's not let them get in the way. Anne Lamott, who is one of my heroes, she writes that prayer means that in some unique way, we believe we're invited into a relationship with someone who hears us when we speak. We've been invited into a relationship. You know, I believe that prayer has the power, if we allow it, to stop us right in the moment. And in that moment is when we are open to be changed. And whether that moment is kneeling at the side of our bed, driving in the car, taking a shower. I talk to God a lot in the shower. Or about to have a difficult conversation with someone we love. In those moments, when we stop, we become present. Because let's face it, we live in an age where there's a hum under everything. We've got a phone buzzing in our pocket or our purse. There's a social media feed that never finishes. We have a low-grade dread about the news, the climate, the bills, the bodies we're aging in. Most of us were never taught how to pray for this, how to pray for this fractured life, this loud, fast life that we live. We were kind of taught that prayer was for cathedrals and for bedtime, for the devout and the disciplined. So when life gets hard on an ordinary Tuesday, we don't know what to say, or to whom, or whether saying anything even does anything. And that's one of the things that Anne Lamott struggled with. She spent a long time not knowing. She's a writer who's been candid about addiction, recovery, depression, and doubt. And she eventually concluded that nearly everything she had ever prayed, desperate, joyful, astonished, could be sorted into 3 words: help, thanks, wow. She asserts that prayer is talking to something or anything with which we seek union, even if we're bitter or broken. She says that prayer is taking the chance against all odds and past history that we're loved and chosen and do not have to get it together before we show up. In fact, she says the opposite may be true. We may not be able to get it together until after we show up in miserable shape. So if we can let go of all the shoulds and oughts and the right and the wrong, all those notions we have about prayer, if we can do that, then prayer can be the real us, our real selves, trying to communicate with the divine. Because when we try that, we turn toward the light, don't we? And that light warms us. And we see beyond it, beyond the shadows and beyond our doubts and our illusions. So for just a few minutes, I want to walk through those three words that she talks about: help, thanks, wow. And I'm watching this clock because I don't know exactly what happens if I go too long. I don't know if... So I pray I don't, but it does make me a little nervous. They're looking at that, but we'll be good. Okay, the first one. Let's face it, we're trained from childhood to be self-sufficient, right? We have a hustle culture that tells us exhaustion is a badge that we wear with pride. Social media tells us everyone else has it together. So the moment we actually need something, rescue, relief, a way out of a mess, whether we made it or didn't, it's often in that moment we feel the most ashamed, the most embarrassed, the least likely to reach out. And yet help may be the most honest word a human being ever says. I know from experience that it's the foundational prayer of recovery communities, because the first real spiritual act is admitting that willpower alone hasn't worked. Anne Lamott found her own sobriety inside rooms built on exactly that admission, has said that help is often the only prayer we're capable of expressing in our worst moments. And that's enough. Because all any of us want most of the time is relief. Life is hard. It is challenging and difficult, and as humans, we are incredibly vulnerable. Life can be devastating, and it can still be okay to be angry and frustrated and take all of that to the divine. Remember, we've been asked to be in relationship. Because we lift up that God can take it. God says, bring it on. Come to me. Tell me what's going on. And goes on to write, there's a freedom in hitting bottom, in seeing that you won't be able to save or rescue your daughter, her spouse, his parents, or your career. Relief in admitting you've reached the place of great unknowing. Because in that moment is when restoration can begin. Because when I'm trying to fix it, make it not be so, or trying one more thing, I'm not still. My mind, my heart, my feet, and my soul are going 90 to nothing. Kind of like that duck, the feet under the water. That's it. That's why this duck is here. The duck looks like it's calm, but underneath those feet are going. That's what I do, trying to get out of things. When I hit bottom and utter the word help is when I can finally begin to see the light. Anne goes on to say, everyone we love and for whom we pray with such passion will die. which is the one real fly in the ointment. So we pray for miracles. Please help this friend live. Please help that friend die gracefully. And we pray that for the survivors to somehow come through. But we need to remember that there is no darkness in the divine. There is only light. And I'm not a medical person, but I do know that what heals wounds is air and light. So if all you have today is the word help, if you've whispered it in a parking lot, in a hospital hallway, typed it into a search bar at 2 a.m., that is not failure of faith. That may be the realest prayer you've prayed all year. And one little story to give you an idea of just how much I don't ask for help. About 3 years ago, I was pulling into my driveway and opened the garage door. I have a little narrow one-car garage, and there was an Amazon package. So I got out of the car, and I was going to go around and check the mail, and then I was going to get the package. But when I got out of the car, the door was left open. And I turn and look, and the car is going into the garage. So I did what anybody would do, I think. I went to get into the car, to put my foot on the brake, right? But by the time I did that, I was already in the frame of the garage. And it crushed me because I was inside the door. And it was terrifying. And I finally was able to reach and turn the key off. But then the car started rolling backwards. And then it knocked me down, and it ruined my favorite pair of Levi's. And of course, I did what anybody would do. I got up, I checked the mail, I went in, changed my clothes, and drove myself to the hospital. Right? Doesn't everybody do that? That's what we do. I got this. That's probably my biggest prayer to God. I got this. I got this, God. And whatever that divine is just going, okay, we'll just wait. You'll be back. So that's the help. So the second word is thanks. And that second prayer is, to a certain degree, harder to access. That's built on an economy of comparison. Because, the algorithms we see everywhere are engineered to make us believe that we don't have what we need. We need more. So gratitude in that environment is not a soft sentiment. It's an act of resistance. The Benedictine monk, Brother David Steindl Rast, he spent decades teaching that gratefulness isn't the result of getting what we want. It's the practice of noticing what's already been given, whether or not we've asked for it. Happiness, he argued, doesn't lead to gratitude. Gratitude leads to happiness. And it works even in grief, even in scarcity, even in a hospital room. And talks about thanks as a form of prayer. She claims that for her, gratitude is a rush of relief that I dodged a bullet. The highway patrol guy didn't notice me speed by, or the dog didn't get hit by someone else speeding by. She calls them DEFCON 1, moments of relief and gratitude. And we can all relate to those moments, can't we? We've all had our share of them, and we will continue to have them. And then she says the DEFCON 2 of the second prayer are said with a heaving exaltation of breath, kind of like the expulsion of the bellows. Someone found my ID card and credit cards that were still in my wallet. The brakes failed. The proliferation of white blood cells was about allergies, not leukemia. The doctor canceled the appointment with the head of oncology because they discovered the symptoms meant something else. Oh my God, thanks. How can you help saying thank you after moments like these, where real danger in our lives is averted? We need that habit of thanks or gratitude in our darkest moments. What she calls DEFCON 3 and 4. And one of the biggest DEFCON 3s and 4 she lifts up is domestic pain. She said domestic pain can be searing, and it's usually what does us in. It's almost indigestible. Death, divorce, old age, drugs, brain damaged children, violence, senility, unfaithfulness. It unfolds and you experience it, and it is so horrible and endless that you could almost give up a dozen times. But she goes on to say, but grace can be the experience of a second wind. When even though you want clarity and resolution, what you get is stamina and poignancy and the strength to hang on. Through the most ordinary things, books, for instance, or a postcard, or eyes, or hands, life is transformed. And last, the third prayer, I'm doing pretty good, is one of our old age. And it's the hardest to access because wonder requires slowing down enough to notice. And almost nothing in modern life rewards us for slowing down. Lamont writes, the third great prayer, wow, is often offered up with a gasp, a sharp intake of breath, when we can't think of another way to capture the sight of shocking beauty or destruction, or of a sudden unbidden insight or an unexpected flash of grace. Wow, is what slips out unplanned in front of a sunset, a newborn, a piece of music, a kindness we didn't see coming. She says it's the hardest kind of prayer to fake and the easiest one to feel, because it really isn't a request at all. It's an admission that the world keeps doing things too good for us to have invented them. So when we are stunned to the place beyond words, when an aspect of life takes us away from being able to chip at something until it's down to a manageable size, when all we can say in response is, wow, that's a prayer. And she maintains that wow prayers come in all shapes and sizes, like people, and that they can encompass every aspect of our lives. And the rabbi theologian Abraham Joshua Heschel, he used the phrase radical amazement to describe the posture he believed all real spirituality begins with. Not certainty, but astonishment that anything exists at all. A couple more wisdom people. The Zen teacher Thich Nhat Hanh built a whole practice exactly around this. Washing a dish, walking across a room, breathing, treated not as chores, to get through, but a small, repeated miracle if we're paying attention. And the Sufi poet Rumi spent his life writing from inside that same astonishment, not analyzing the sacred from a distance, but writing as someone caught up in it, undone by it, unable to stop marveling at it. Well, then, this is the whole of it stripped down. When you don't know what to say help. When you notice you've been given something, say thanks. When you are stopped in your tracks by something too good or too strange to have expected, say wow. You don't need the right words. You don't need certainty about who or what is listening. You only need honesty to say the true thing. So go this week and pray badly. Pray briefly. It will be enough. Number 44, we sing of golden mornings.
We sing of golden mornings, we sing of sparkling seas, of prairies, valleys, mountains, and stately forest trees. We sing of flashing sunshine and life bestowing rain, of birds among the branches, and springtime come again. We sing the heart courageous, the youthful eager mind. We sing of hopes undaunted, of friendly ways and kind. We sing of roses waiting beneath the deep brown snows. We sing of earth's great splendor, whose beauty countless knows.
Now we have arrived at the part of our service where we must extinguish our chalice flame. I invite Aaron to come and extinguish our chalice for us. This flame has served as a reminder to us that our time together this morning is sacred, a time set apart. In the words of the revered Brian Keeley, the chalice is now extinguished, but its light lives on in the minds and hearts and souls of each one of us. Carry that flame with you as you leave this place and share it with those you know, with those you love, and most especially with those you have yet to meet. We're so grateful for your presence this morning. For those who have joined us on YouTube, after the postlude, we'll be ending our live streaming service. Thank you for all our online attendees. We look forward to hosting you again soon. So may we, in the course of our week, be more and more aware of the communities of which we are a part. May we be more and more aware of our individual part in those communities. And may we be more and more aware of how those communities co-create our journeys with us. And may we be more and more aware of how we co-create their journeys. Amen.